Everyone is growing, changing, and evolving, even you. From the baby nurse to the student nurse, the veteran nurse off the bedside into entrepreneurship, you have arrived and you have evolved. And I am Keisha, the host of the Evolve Nurse podcast. So let's get right into this episode. Y'all, this episode is going to detail how I got into my doctorate program having a not qualifiable GPA. If you follow me on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, you kind of sort of know my story. But if you haven't, you can go right on over to TikTok, follow me at the Evolved Nurse, and you can see how they played me. Really and truly, they really didn't play me. It was just somebody who didn't have email etiquette who kind of told me in bold in the subject line that my GPA was too low and that I needed a certain GPA. But even in that, the website said one GPA. She had an increased GPA that I had to have, and I was just confusion. But all in all, I didn't need to be at that school. My life took a different journey, and I am now in my doctorate program. But we'll get into that later on in this episode. But right now, I want to offer my condolences to Miss Amber Thurman. Y'all, this is one of the fears that Black women have when they go in, even to have a baby or even to speak to somebody about what's going on with their bodies. We have this silence around people being biased. We have this silence around people not believing us when we're in pain. But in this specific instance, Miss Amber she got an abortion pill from another state, came on home, but she didn't expel all the fetus and she needed a DNC. Now, what is a DNC? I'm an OR nurse, so I'll give you a little background on what it is. A DNC is a dilation and curettage. Basically, they take an instrument, they go inside, they clean out all the remains that you have inside your body. This could be a procedure for people who, they suffer from endometriosis, or for her instance, to go in and get that fetus up out of her, right? Now, being in the OR during the time that they brought this ban into perspective, right? They made it a law. And I'm here in Florida, and I actually saw this happen. This is in real time, not this specific case, but I saw something similar that happened. So when the ban happened, we had a woman who came in and she had a stillbirth. She wasn't able to expel the baby. Her baby passed and was still inside of her, and we needed to have this surgery. We needed to get this surgery done. But the law was literally just passed the day before. And so you see surgeons running around, we're running around trying to figure out if we can do this lady's surgery. Mind you, it's continuously delaying the care. And everybody's like, I don't know what to do. We need to do this surgery, but I don't know if we should do the surgery because it's going to interfere with our licenses. So the doctors are like, I want to keep my license, but I want to give her care. I don't know what to do. We need to figure this out. Let's call the board, see if we can do the surgery. Eventually, we were able to do the surgery. But looking at this case and seeing how this could have been prevented, all she needed was a DNC. A DNC is a 30 to 45 minute case from start to finish, depending on any complications that happen with the actual procedure. So to lose someone because of something that could have been prevented, it's one of those things that happens often in our community. even like listening to your patients. Now I'm speaking to student nurses or nurses who need to change how they practice, because a lot of us are stuck in our ways and we think that we know everything and we're not teachable. We don't want to learn anything. We know everything, and honestly, nursing is a practice based on evidence, and you need to change how you view things. Change it now. Creating biases based on someone's story, or having a bias about people who want to go through with abortion. You never know anybody's story, and it's not your place to try to project how you feel onto anybody. It is up to us to deliver safe and continuous care to everyone and hear them out, their thoughts, their pains, everything. That is what we're here for. We're not here to pass judgment on anybody. So at the end of the day, this was something that could have been prevented. They actually just sent us something. The state of Florida just sent us something about this particular case and said that these specific things are reasons why we can do surgery. Like if you have somebody who has been grape juiced, if you have someone who has suffered from incest, if you have someone who has suffered from SA, like these are reasons why we can do the procedure. And I'm glad they put that out there. I'm glad they said it, because normally I don't even look at what the state sends me in my email. I'm like, oh, it's another one. But this one specifically, I did read through it, and it did give clear and concise lines around trying to prevent what happened to Miss Amber. It is something within the healthcare community that we struggle with daily, and that is acknowledging Black women's pain. This was a complete delay of care. And as we know, it was a delay of care. And it's crazy that they're actually fessing up to it. I appreciate people for taking full accountability. But at the same time, if it's something that can be prevented, we should be able to prevent it. And us as nurses, we can speak loud. We can fight for our patients. We can be the person who is an advocate for our patients. But it also has to boil down to everybody in healthcare giving women a voice, giving women control of their own bodies. This was simply something that is, I don't even, honestly, it's hard to say, considering like I've seen something like this happen in real time. And so let's kind of look through the actual article here. I'm just kind of reading, y'all. I'm sorry. I just pray for that family, y'all. I really do pray for that family. She ended up getting an infection, as we know will happen if you don't get a DNC or expel the fetus in an adequate amount of time. And so this is just something that, y'all, it's hard for me to talk about, because just seeing this happen, like, this is why I had a home birth. This is why people don't feel comfortable going to the doctor. This is why people feel like they are invisible in their own care. These are the reasons. And so we have to change that. And I was going to say change some of that. No, we have to change all of that. We have to change how the healthcare system is right now. And if we don't change it, Black people already don't go to the doctor as it is because we're uncomfortable. We have white coat syndrome. Black people really not going to go to the doctor after stuff like this happens. They're really not going to feel comfortable after things like this. And so we want to prevent this as much as possible. We want our patients to feel like they are heard and not actually feel like it actually be heard. So again, to the parents, to that baby boy, To everybody who has touched Amber's life, including ours, in this case, I pray peace to you. I send you all my condolences. And y'all, it's a fight that we have to fight. It's gonna be a long fight because at the end of the day, overturning Roe v. Wade was crazy. Y'all. Anywho, let's get into the episode. Let's get into the episode. Now, y'all, I'm just kind of like going through the motions of feeling and trying not to cry on this camera because I ain't got no business crying on this camera. But understanding that this happened to someone who was so young, who had life ahead of her, who, you know, deserved to have the proper care, to deserve to be heard. And I don't understand why people didn't have protocol available for them to understand what they needed to do. But this goes to show that there are holes and gaps in healthcare that need to be filled, that need to be looked at, policies and procedures that need to be revamped. There are so many things, y'all. But let's get into why I'm really here. I'm here for that, but I'm also here because of you, right? I'm here because you didn't pass your first class. You feel like you want to go into secondary school, you want to go into a graduate program, but because you didn't pass that first semester, that first class, or you didn't do quite well, that you're not able to get into school because your GPA is too low, right? That was me. I failed my first semester. I failed the class, and sadly, my program did not replace that grade with another grade. So a lot of programs, what they do is whenever you retake the class, they give you the grade that you made when you retook the class. Mine had both on my transcript. So it had my failure on my transcript that had a certain amount of points, and it had my pass with a certain amount of points, which put my GPA at a 2.98. A 2.98. So whereas I go on all these websites looking to get into graduate school, wanting to get my DNP, and being like, I can't get into school with this. I just can't. Like, I can't get into, and I don't want to apply if I don't have the appropriate GPA. So I'm like, I have a 2.98, and if I want it, I'm just gonna go for it, right? So I put in my first application. And the first thing that I hear back is, and I want y'all to go look at this on my TikTok or my Instagram. The first thing that she says is in the subject line, your GPA is too low. And then put my GPA in parentheses as if I don't know what my GPA is. I knew that my GPA was a 2.98 before I submitted this application, but I said I was going to submit it anyway, just in case. And so then after I received that email from her that my GPA was too low, I got an email from the school saying my GPA was too low and that I needed a 3.0. In her email, she told me I needed a 3.3. So now I'm looking around like, well, what do I need? Because the email from the school said I needed a 3.0. You're telling me I need a 3.3. And you yelling at me in email form. Like, I don't like this. I don't like how this feels. It's feeling very microaggressive. And I don't like that. But that place just wasn't for me. So I put in an application at 2 other schools. Y'all don't mind my twist up. Because I ain't got one. I need to go get one. So I ended up, charging it to the game. She told me that I could use my GRE scores. As you all know, I graduated with my bachelor's in biology, swore that I was going to PA school, went and took my GRE, but my GRE is out of the 5-year window. So the GRE doesn't even show you what you make after 5 years. Like, you can go on there, you can see that you took the test, but you can't see what you made. And I'm like, I paid my money for that. We need to see about that. We need to see about that because what am I paying? And I can't even see what I made. And she was the lady who sent me the email that was yelling at me about my GPA, how low it was. She actually was like, if you took your GRE, we can take those scores. And I was like, well, it's been past 5 years. She was like, if you have your scores, we could take your scores. But of course, I could not find my documentation for it. Because, back then, like, you're just going on the website, logging in and seeing what you make. Or you get a paper copy at the end. And so I had no idea where this paper copy was. It's been over 5-6 years. And like, I just don't know, because I get on the website, I see I took the test, you can't see the score. So if y'all GRE is outside of 5 years, go, if it's at 4 years and 11 months, go ahead and print it out so you got your GRE at hand, because you're not going to be able to see it next month. Okay. So she told me that I could use my GRE scores and get into the program, but I didn't have my GRE score. So I just took that as an L and decided that's just not in the plans for me. It's not in the cards for me. And I wanted to get into a program that had leadership. So this was a program that had a doctorate, a BSN to DNP bridge program into leadership. That's what I wanted, and a lot of schools don't offer that. If you're going into leadership, they want you to have your master's first and then go get your DNP, which is completely understandable, but that's just not what I had, and I didn't want to waste time going to school to get my master's, then go get my doctor's for leadership. So after that, y'all, I applied to 2 more schools. I was like, I'm going to apply with this 2.98 GPA, and let me tell you what I did, right? I put in applications and I detailed I gave my resume, which is full of things that I've done. I have a very strong resume of my volunteer hours, not only that, but also my externship, along with all the work that I've done, and being very articulate in what that what that looks like for me being a nurse. Now, with that being said, I also develop very, very good relationships with people, right? This is something that you need to know while you're in school, because it's not going to be a time where you come in contact with people who they see you for who you are and they are willing to write a letter of recommendation for you. So I built very solid relationships with people across, like, during my time in nursing school, before nursing school and undergrad, as well as my preceptors, the people I shadowed. I always made sure that I built solid relationships with them, not because I wanted a letter of recommendation, but because I cared about how I appear in the space of giving care, but also because if the time came, if push came to shove, it was going to be time for me to pick up the phone and be like, hey, can you write me a letter of recommendation? And what are you showing people? You're showing people that you are caring, kind, a hard worker, that you're teachable, that you're willing to go above and beyond so that you can be able to do certain things, so that you can give certain care. And so that's what I did very early on. Early on, I decided that I don't think it was a decision that I made, because I feel like nursing chose me. I didn't choose it. If y'all know my story, y'all know I tried to evade nursing at all costs. I was like, I'll just go be a teacher. I was like, I'll just do this. I'll go be a PA. I'll go be a teacher. I'll go do this. I'll go do that. But nursing was like, no. You're coming over here and we're going to make a way out of no way. So that's how I ended up here. Like, having those good letter of recommendations and forming relationships with people who you know that are going to write a good letter of recommendation. I reached out to my old boss, who's also one of my good friends, but he's also one of my old bosses. I reached out to a PA, an NP I used to work with. I reached out to one of my old nursing school teachers, and they all were very, very, like, excited to write this letter of recommendation for me. And so my resume, so I got my GPA here, right? This 2.98 that this lady yelled at me about. I got my 2.98 right here. I have a resume full of things that I have done over the years. I've been in PCU, ICU working with COVID. I've been a nurse in the OR, a charge nurse. I've been a unit manager. I've been all of these things, just stacking up my resume to make myself look like a good candidate. Not even look like, I am a good candidate. So you know who you are. You know what you offer. Make sure that your resume reflects that. Not only making sure that your resume reflects what you've done in the nursing field, also building and developing those relationships just in case you have to reach back and say, hey, can you write a letter of recommendation for me? So that's what I did. Put in my applications with my letter of recommendations as well as my resume. Like make sure that you're certified and stuff. Like if you are in the OR, make sure you're taking your Period 101. And if you have, put that on your resume. If you're an AORN, if you have a membership, put that on your resume. ACLS, BLS, make sure that's on your resume. Put those things on your resume so that they know that you are out here always evolving in your learning. This is the evolved nurse. You are the evolved person. So you need to be showing that you're evolving on your application, right? And then a great personal statement. Making sure that you write a great personal statement. One of my cousins, she is a PA, and she used to have people look over her personal statement, tell her what she should put in it, what she shouldn't put in it, and like how the committee is going to interpret what you're saying. And so she gave me a lot of good feedback on my personal statement. And so that's good. Finding somebody that is going to look over your personal statement, who is knowledgeable about what they want, and then leaning into that, changing anything that you need to change, reworking anything. Never feel like, you know what, I'm just going to put it in. Because I had a 2.98 here. I didn't have the ability to be like, I have a 3.5. My resume is okay. And I'm going to I can arrive off this 3.5. I didn't have the ability to do that. I had to make myself look better. Like I had to show who I was on paper, but they didn't even know who I was. I didn't even get to interview. Like they didn't see my personality. They don't know anything before they just throw your application in the garbage can or the virtual garbage can. Like I had to show who I look like. My personality had to show in my personal statement or any of those questions, because I think one of my applications required me to answer a series of questions. And so in my questions, I had to be very specific, concise, sound intelligent, but also show my personality. And so yeah, you have to paint a picture of yourself. So what painted a picture of me was not only that 2.98 GPA, but also my resume, my volunteer hours, also my certifications, like the things that I do, what I do outside of nursing, as well as my personal statement, and then my letters of recommendation. So that's really what I did to make myself a candidate for DNP school. So I ended up hearing back from a school, and I'm like, hold on, I got in. Hold on. Not me with my 2.98. My 2.98 got in. Yo. Now, mind you, let's talk about how overachievers end up doubting themselves. So, because I was in high school, an overachiever, made all A's, got into college on scholarships. And once I got to college, didn't really know how to navigate college because one of my parents had a mental breakdown. Like I didn't know how to navigate that because it's not something that I had ever seen before. In addition to me working 2 to 3 jobs, school fell by the wayside. And so being gifted or in honors and all that in high school, it didn't allow for me to understand and develop study techniques because all I had to do was read it one time and then I got it. But life happened around me. So now I'm in a constant hole of, am I able to do this? Like now I'm doubting myself, whereas I never doubted myself before, but now I'm in a significant amount of doubt because I have all these things happen around me. I don't know how to cope with them. And now my GPA is suffering. And all I know myself as is Keisha with the good grades. Right? That's all I know myself as is Keisha, who is who is academically okay. I'm good at what I do academically. I don't have to worry about that. And so I thought that would spill over into school. And so if you're in high school going to college, listen to me. If you make all A's, you can make all A's in college. It just takes a little bit more discipline. And it takes you being able to navigate real life situations because you're not a kid anymore. Your parents aren't sheltering you from what the real world looks like. Like, my dad told me what the world looks like. My mom sheltered me from what the world looked like. And in the grand scheme of things, I didn't really know how to cope with real life situations. And so that showed up in school for me. And so now, like, battling with having a 2.98 GPA, but also being a gifted person or the gifted person who didn't have to do much. So now you feel like you don't have to work as hard, but you have to work even harder because you're so used to getting things easily that now you're like, hey, I gotta get it out of mud. You know what I'm saying? So yes, if you're a gifted student, it might be a little bit harder for you when real life enters into your orbit. But stay focused, stay consistent, keep doing what you're doing. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up too bad because that's where I was. I was in a constant state of beating myself up, which showed in my grades, which showed in my confidence, which showed in that 2.98 GPA, which showed in me losing Hope Scholarship. So give yourself some grace. It is okay. Life happens, but you still have the ability to pick yourself up. Don't revel in all of the life stuff. Like, when I tell you, that is what did it for me. But with that being said, yes, life for me. And luckily, my GPA wasn't the only thing that they were looking at. They were looking at me as a person. So use that. Use the fact that you have built a tribe of people behind you, beside you, and around you that are willing to be there, that are willing to speak up for you in your letters of recommendation. Even if it's like, hey, can you look over my resume? I'm not sure, like, if it looks okay, if it looks appropriate. Utilize that because you know that you would be that for somebody else. So let them be that for you. I also put in another application. So now I started school, y'all. I'm starting school. Like, I'm feeling myself like I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting school. I don't know what's going on. I got 35 assignments. And then, y'all, why do I get an email from my dream college saying that, hey, you got into the program, but it's a late start, so we're going to slide you into the part-time program, and you can start that way. Not my dream school. Not my dream school. The school I have wanted to go to since I was a child, y'all. When I wanted to be a doctor, I was like, I want to go to this school. Ended up getting into the school, y'all. That's a big pat on my back. Now I've already started my program, of course. So I didn't want to drop out of my program and be behind in that part-time program. So I stayed where I am. But y'all, I got into my dream school. Do y'all understand how that speaks to little Keisha? How that speaks to who I was as a child who really wanted to go to that school, regardless of whether it was for being a doctor, for being a nurse, or for being a DNP. That was a dream of mine. And so now I'm like, Keisha, you have painted the picture of yourself in your application that you needed to. And it's only right for me to tell you that even if you got a 2.5, a 2.9, a 2.22, if you have been out here in these nursing streets working your tail off, being the person that you have decided that you want to be, go for it. Don't let that be the reason why. Don't let that be the reason why you don't go for it. Don't let that 2 point whatever be the reason why you don't go for it. You know that life for you that semester. You know you lost somebody that semester. You know I lost several people. I lost several people during nursing school, whether it be friendship, relationship, or to transitioning. So life will life for you, and unfortunately, it may show up in school. but you have to paint yourself with a beautiful brush when you're putting in your applications. Give your application some love, and maybe you'll hear back from your dream college. And I hope that you get into your dream college and that you become everything that you want to be. Like, when I tell you, I am so proud of nurses coming in and being like, you know what? I don't want to stop right here. I want to keep going. I want to do leadership because I see the holes that are in nurse management. I want to be an MP and BNPs because I see that we need more people who look like us in these spaces. I've seen doctors who decided to go out on their own practice because they just weren't having enough time. Like, to see like the beauty that comes in healthcare, to see how beautiful it is to see Black people go for it. Despite how they feel about like their grades or how people feel about them, or like going through the microaggressions of an everyday work life. When I tell y'all, I am so super, super duper proud of you. Even if I don't know you, because I don't know you, but we're going to get to know each other. So comment below. It's so beautiful seeing everyone who wants to be a nurse, who wants to give back to the community, who wants to be there in a capacity to help in whatever way that they can, be of service, while also serving yourself, because you cannot be of service to anybody if you are not giving yourself what you need. It's been a beautiful sight to see. And that's why I'm telling you, do not let that 2.98 get in the way of you applying for school. Don't let the requirements keep you from getting into school. I can tell you right now, I got into my nurse externship and I was like, I ain't got the GPA for this. Got in because my resume spoke for me. Let your resume speak for you. Let your resume say things that you're not able to say on your application. Because once you do that, people are looking at you like, okay, I like that she did this, this, and this. Let your resume speak for yourself. With that being said, if you have made it to the end of this episode, thank you so, so, so much for listening. We did have our Evolved Nurse meetup at the bookstore. Went to Barnes, and we had a really good time. We went to Barnes, and then we went to Cheesecake Factory. Did a book exchange. And so we had a really, really good time, really good conversation. So pretty soon I'll be rolling out another one. I'll be rolling out another one, and then hopefully there'll be some other big things in the future for us. But like I said, if you reach the end of this episode, comment below in the comment section if you want to go back to school. If you have decided that you want to go back to school, but your GPA doesn't look right, or if you just started school and you're looking for somebody to talk to about what you're going through. We are building a community over here. Go follow us on the Evolve Nurse on Instagram as well as TikTok, and we can talk on any of those platforms, as well as you feel like if it's something more intimate that you want to talk to me about, you can always email me at theevolvednurse@gmail.com. That's THEEVOLVEDNURSE@gmail.com. Again, like, I'm here to talk to y'all, and I hope that y'all have a great day. And remember, put the application in. Also, I do have what I wish I knew about externship. I have a free externship ebook. It's free. Just go download it whenever you get ready to look at it. But it's a way that you can make money while you're in nursing school, as well as finding your way and navigating into nursing. An externship, it was a beautiful thing for me. So I think it'll be beautiful for you. With that being said, y'all have a great day. Bye.